I do have a this or that.
Okay, good. We didn't do it last week.
Working for the weekend, and I wanna see a show.
Show.
Now.
On the book of face. Yeah, I know where to go.
I'll tell you where to go.
There's a man over there.
Oh, right out my. Oh.
Into the music scene, showing lots of love for the community. With great advice, I know who I should go see.
Show.
That's where I go for the latest blend info.
Gina, down the radio.
Show. Oh, yes. What's happening, Ceris?
Oh, so much. What is
We
happening?
are live.
We are live. Don't say anything
We are.
stupid.
We are live. And boy, did we spark a little interest today.
That's good.
I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
All it took was a little post and people just chimed in right and left. I love it when they do that.
Audience
Don't you?
participation.
Yes. How you been? You all
Hi,
right?
Kevin. I'm great. I've been working from home the last little while, and it's glorious because I just sit on my front porch and work.
Oh, it's beautiful out right now. It is wonderful. And I meant to say, I sent you a message the other day. I don't know if you got it. You know, I know you're busy. But I sent you this message that said I had the Faded Cow food truck food the other night.
Oh, did you like it?
It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what kind of magic you sprinkle on those tots, but they were perfect.
It's good, right? We
Little
have
crunchy nuggets of love.
And our meat, like we use fresh meat, so none of the meat's frozen. It's all fresh. Which
I
think
would
is
expect
big.
you to have nothing else but fresh meat
Right,
in your house.
right.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It was good. Faded Cow food truck.
Good.
Try it if you're at the Bell or at other locations near you.
Yes.
There we go. That's my shameless plug for you today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Let's see who's dropping by to talk to us today. Steve Downey, Kareem.
Kareem, the champ is here.
Looks like Glenn's in the house on the
Hello,
YouTube
Glenn.
channel. Oh, the lovely Gina
Oh,
McCann.
Gina.
I lovely Gina
Who doesn't
McCann.
love Gina?
We love her. We
I
do.
love
Kevin's here. We love Kevin,
Kevin
as
is
well.
amazing. He's
Toy from
amazing.
Rockstar. I
Hey,
got to see him
Toy.
Saturday. It was good
They're
to
a
see you.
good
Toy.
band. I completely underestimated those guys.
Well, they weren't
Toy.
playing. I got to see Sweet Sister Mercy, but
Oh.
he was supporting the Rockstar
Well-
band was out supporting those guys. That's cool.
So that's a nice thing about this rock star band is they're very supportive of their fellow musicians.
Absolutely.
I like that about
they
them.
are. Hi, Roger. Thank you for being with us. Alex, my brother from
Alex.
another mother. Carrie's in the house. Got
Hi,
his
Carrie.
camera icon going. Who's RD? RD Stewart. He says, hey. He's in the house.
Good
And
Roger.
Carolyn's here. We love Carolyn.
Oh, hi, Carolyn. The most lovely lady ever.
One of the sweetest people I know.
She's so sweet. It's
Actually.
ridiculous.
Hi, Bill. Bill's got the
Hi,
greatest
Bill.
beard. Look at that beard. Can you see that?
It's a great beard, but I think my husband's beard is a little. I like my husband's beard, but I love your beard, Bill.
Well, that's because you're married to him.
That's
Hi, Jim. Jim McCarthy.
Hi,
Not Jim,
Jim.
your husband. But Jim, your husband, I'm saying hi to, too. Side Piece in the house. That's a great band name.
it is.
Patrick O'Neill. What's going on? Laverne? Is he calling you Laverne? Am I Shirley?
I don't know.
I don't know either. The Rockstar Band says thank
There's
you. They
Rockstar Band.
switched pages on us. Brenda Lee. I like that name. Chris. Who else we got checking in today, Karis? And let's get ready to talk because we got lots.
Snyder.
Chris Vance, Bob Klein. Bob always has great comments, doesn't
Bob, I have been enjoying Bob's comments. He's very
Yes.
realistic.
he? Hey, Sean Cooper.
I like that.
Good to see you, my friend. Had lunch at your place today.
Hi,
It was
Sean.
awesome.
What place is that?
Milano's in it's in Miamisburg / Miami Township up here by me.
Okay.
Milano's Pizza and Sub and Tap House, and it's a great time at Milano's. And my server, I forget her name now, but she was awesome. So Sean, great job.
When I'm up there, I need to go there.
Sean's the PM GM. He is Night General Manager. Butch Snyder in the house. Yes. And he's saying hi to us. So hi, Sean.
Hi.
All right. Let's get started today, Karis. You want to?
Yeah, you go.
Well, we posted on the page today. This is a little talk today. We're going to have interactive discussion with all y'all about bands who play covers, obviously, and many bands do, and that's kind of what we do in around the parts here. But those who play obscure covers, maybe covers that no one has ever heard before, and how much is too much? Is it enough? And I think, what was your little rhyme? Do you take chances, I guess?
What was it? Do you play to the masses or do you take chances or something,
yes,
something like that?
Something like that. Play to the masses or the asses or yeah, something. But yes. So that's what we're talking about today. And we'd love to hear from you. If you're a musician, you have a view on this, we'd love to hear it. If you're not a musician and you're a fan of music, we'd really love to hear from you.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that. And there's a difference also. There's so many different types of fans out there, because there's music fans. There's the fans that go to see music, like they're musicians, a musician's musician. And then there's fans that want to go see live music, but they just want to be entertained, so there's a lot of different levels here.
Yeah, and I think there were some wonderful comments today, and both of you and I were talking about one that stood out to us before the show today, and I think that's one we could kind of hit on a little bit, because, and it came to us from Dave Taylor / David Gale that he is on the Book of Face. I thought he hit it on the head, kind of.
I did too. He said, what did he say? He said he likes to try to play songs that everybody's heard of, but nobody plays. And my response was, there's a big difference between playing songs that everybody's heard of. That's like a nice, pleasant surprise that nobody ever plays, but everybody's heard of. That's a nice, pleasant surprise. But if you play songs that nobody's heard of,
it's just like playing an original, and we've talked about that. I mean, honest to God, tough. I mean, it is.
It's just tough.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's a bad song. Doesn't mean you don't master it. And there are followers, Karis, that go to bands and places that feature that. And I mean, our friends from Crown Watts are one. They play a lot of obscure songs, but I think they're identifiable.
That's my whole point. They may play obscure songs. They have like an obscure music, but people have heard of them. They've heard of these songs. That's why there is such a difference between playing songs that nobody's heard of, but those deep, deep tracks that nobody's heard of. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is not like a personal opinion. I'm talking strictly from a business point of view, but it's going to be hard to get rebooked.
Right. And Toy, that's a great point, Toy. Thank you.
I think it depends on what kind of band. If it's a tribute band, there are certain that's completely different. If it's a tribute band, then absolutely. You're playing what that band plays.
High seven.
But if you're playing at a bar that makes their living, their living from people being in there, listening to the music and buying drinks, I don't go see local cover bands that much anymore, because so many of them all seem to play the same thing. I certainly look forward to them playing a deep cut. I do want to make it out to see Crown Watts, but have not. Yeah. And are you a musician, Patrick?
Patrick is a music lover, and let me tell you, he's played trivia with me for 5 years, and I can't get one past him even with deep cuts. This guy knows his music.
So that's what I'm saying. There's a difference. Yeah. There are so many
unless it's country
here. There's so like you're a musician's music, like you're a musician's music fan. That's the difference. But the majority of people that go to bars to go listen to live music are going to bars to go listen to cover bands live musics, unless they're going to knowing that they're going to a cover band to see a cover band. Again, this is not personal opinions. This is strictly business. I think what it really comes down to is you have to care enough about what you're doing and what's happening in the audience. You don't just read the audience in the beginning. You have to read the audience through the entire show. And especially when you're going to play those obscure songs. I'm not saying don't do it. I think, there's got to be a happy medium here. But if you're going to play those songs and you see the crowd just completely bail, like mentally, like just gone, you need to care enough about the place you're playing in and the audience to be like, okay, perhaps this isn't the right night to do this.
Man, I think Bob Klein always nails it. I mean, he's really right with this, and it's unfortunate. True. It's true though, and
it is true.
How many times have I said on this show? You go to a concert, and it could be one of the biggest acts, Taylor Swift, Garth Brooks, and they say, "Okay, here's a new one off my album I haven't released yet." People go get a beer. They just don't necessarily come to shows they want to hear the hits. And like Toy said, he's in a band called Rockstar. It's an 80s band. You can't call it a tribute band because it's not one act, but it's paying tribute to that. The Whammies are another one that I wouldn't go to see the Whammies if they were playing 10 songs that were number 501 through 510 on the 80s Billboard chart. They're playing the hits.
With all due respect, Patrick, it's not necessarily a problem, and you are kind of the exception. It's a problem for you as a musician. But it's not a problem for venues because we still seem to be doing quite well. I mean, venues have thrived off of cover bands that play the same music. So it might be a problem for you, but from a business point of view, we seem to be doing, it's not necessarily a problem. As personal, these are all personal opinions. You have to remember, as your personal opinion, yeah, I can see that. Why would you want to hear that? You don't like that. That's totally understandable. I like to go out and listen to really good music. Dave Wade, guys like Patrick are the exception. Absolutely. Unfortunately, you're the exception, which means there's not enough of you to pay our bills.
Yeah, and that's the shame about it, because there's some great music. There's great B-sides to every record in its old day.
Absolutely.
There's fantastic ones, but people don't know them. They're not going to engage. And that's the hard part with the music business today. Maybe, 100 years ago wasn't that way or something, but it's that way today, unfortunately.
And we're reiterating here, this isn't our personal opinions. This is a business. I don't, if I were to only sell things that I like in my bar, I don't think I'm really going to have a bar that's going to last long. It's going to be water, and every once in a while a Hendrick's gin, and you know what I mean? Like, that's it. It's not what I want personally. It's what the people that are sitting on those stools or up on the dance floor wants, because that's how I pay my bills. That's how my bartenders pay their bills. That it's just a fact. Does it suck sometimes? Sure it does for people, but it's a reality.
And, I want to give a shout out to somebody I go see once in a while, and that's Benny Bodine. And I always comment when I review Benny's shows on our Mondays that Benny's one of those guys. He plays songs that are totally identifiable, but songs I never hear anyone else play.
That's the difference.
Ever. And it's a breath of fresh air, because I'm not hearing Wagon Wheel again. I hate to say that, but I mean it. It's just, it gets old.
That's the point, is play the songs that nobody plays, but that everybody knows.
And somebody commented today about the thing about, when the first words come off of some singer's mouth that says, just a small town girl living in a lonely world. So many people just hang their heads because it's been played to death.
Yes. Now there's songs. Death. Yeah. And there are songs like that I don't want to hear anymore. I guess
some people like them. Right. They do.
And you know how we know that? Because people keep playing them, and these bands still draw insane crowds.
And a perfect example, I was out Saturday night at Froggy's in Monroe, and I was there with Sweet Sister Mercy, and Brandy Evans got up to sing with the band, and Brandy sang Separate Ways. Now, I've heard Brandy sing Separate Ways every way possible, and in every type of scenario and all that. Honest to God, no offense, boys, if you're watching the Sweet Sister Mercy boys, she got the biggest applause of the night. Mm-hmm. Song's tired to me. I mean, it is. No offense to Brandy. She does it well. But it's just one of those songs where how many times have I heard that out and about? And I think that's what a lot of people were commenting on today. And, and Dave Wade's making some good comments here. And I will say one thing about DV8. They throw in some songs you don't always hear from other bands. And I like that,
But what they're also doing is what I'm noticing. I'm pretty sure that they do this, is they also Melissa and the crew are pretty darn good at paying attention to what works with their crowd, because that's their thing. You know what I mean? So they pay attention, and that's one of the most important things that I don't think a lot of musicians do. And I find that offensive and somewhat disrespectful, especially if you're going to play in my bar, that you don't care how it's affecting the people in there. Like I've literally had musicians be like, whatever, everybody needs a bathroom break. No, no, I'm going to make that decision.
That's not a bathroom break. That's a cash register break.
That's a cash register break.
Yes, it is. And we, people get pissy when we talk about making money. What the hell do you think a bar owner's in it for? To shake hands and hug people all night and say, oh, thanks for coming to my bar? They're there to make money. They appreciate you, but they don't need somebody to tell them, oh, I'm going to play 100 obscure songs tonight just because I like them. Well, no, the crowd doesn't.
I take a lot of pride in my bar, and I do things a little bit differently when it comes, like, I consider myself very close to a lot of the customers. I'm very interactive. I'm very, I care. I give a shit. But at the end of the day, business is business. And if you're not willing to work with me as a team, and you're only out there for yourself and only going to play what you want to play, then you will never be asked back, ever.
And Seven, I appreciate your comment there. I want to say, in the country world, Ceris, and you don't do a lot of country at your place, but in the country world, I used to really love original song by Jason Isbell that Morgan Wallen covered. And I used to love hearing that. It is so tired now to me because everybody's playing it. And if your band could pick a set list that if some of these songs that are identifiable, but they're not the hits everybody's playing, I think you'll be successful. I mean, those bands are playing, they're successful. And it's a learning curve. You got to learn those songs. I mean, you do. And, people can come in and play. And when Crown Watts plays Funeral for a Friend, I mean, that is something that you don't hear people do by Elton John very often. And they do it, and they do it so well. I enjoy it.
I think Crown Watts is different, but I also think they may play obscure music, but they play obscure music that people know, that people have heard. And that's the difference. To me, that's the biggest difference. I understand that music is a passion and you're playing because it fills your soul. But if you're also doing it for income, and if you're also doing it to get booked, then you have to play to the masses.
Hey, Bob, that's a great statement. And that's what I was kind of talking about earlier. I mean, Brandy doing Separate Ways the other night, it appealed to the crowd, and the crowd loved it. And, and you as the band member cannot allow your feelings for music to derail your show with your audience. I mean, I hate to say that. It's the truth. And so often people do that. They're like, well, I'm going to play this song, whether it clears the dance floor or not. I spent my early days being a DJ in nightclubs in the disco era where there was 2,000 people on the floor. And if I misjudged one song, the dance floor emptied. You had to make sure that crowd kept that fever pitch, and then you bring them down with a slow tune or whatever, get them to go to the bar and all those things. But it's a tough, two-edged sword here. What's Jamie saying here?
Also put up Kareem's. Kareem had a really good idea as well.
This one?
Yeah. Putting your own personal. Yeah. And listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying obscure songs every once in a while, but you also have to read the audience when you're doing that. And and the problem with that is a lot of people just, in their mind, they're like, well, there was like 2 people on the dance floor, so it's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine because there was probably like 30 people on the dance floor, and then you changed tune and it went to that. It's not okay. It's a very, it goes back to just, I don't know.
I always call them the exit ramp song. Everybody leaves the highway.
To leave my bar and me not be able to book you again, then play your obscure songs. Go right ahead.
Yeah, and if there's somebody out there that has a differing opinion, we'd love to hear it here. I'm getting a lot of agreements with what Ceris and I are saying, and thank you for that. But also, if you have a differing opinion, we want to hear from you. And there's a whole lot of stuff going in there. And like Jamie said, yes, Jamie, I go see bands sometimes that I could tell you what the next song is on their set list. And
that's the other end of the spectrum. I don't want that either. That's also a personal opinion. I mean, I just don't even go to I won't even go anymore because I know it's just so annoying. But you got to have multiple set lists. You got, depending on where you're playing. If you're playing somewhere, opening up for a cover band or opening up for a band, you have that, like the Blue Note or something like that. You have that. You have a little more freedom to play your obscure songs. If you're playing a bar, then you got to have a bar set list. There's a difference.
Yeah, opening acts are a whole different animal. I mean, those are they're open. You can play your originals then because people aren't there really to see you anyway. No. They're there to see the headliner. You're just the filler to get to that time so the headliner can play and the bar can stay open till 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. I mean, thank you, Seven, for that. Tom, yeah, and
that journey stuff. See, I like Under the Sun. To me, is one of, in my opinion, hands down, one of the best bands in Cincinnati because they play songs that everybody's heard of, but not everybody plays. And they're so damn good at it too.
I'm trying to get to those comments here. I'm looking at Steve's right now from Timestamp. Thank you. Yeah, and you play songs, and you also incorporate a trumpet into your act and things, and that widens the ability to play other songs that aren't the standard fare today, and I appreciate that. And we did talk about that during the interview with Timestamp, how they pick their set list and so on, because it is a different type of set list. And Dave Wade, I mean, here's a guy, and that says it right there. He's played with more than a dozen bands, over 100 musicians. A lot of musical minds take great pride in playing music that they feel themselves are over the heads of the general public. Is that good or bad, Dave? I'd like to know your opinion on that. I mean, because it does happen.
And that's great. Again, there's a time and a place for that. There's a time and like I'm always personally incredibly impressed when I hear my friends who are musicians play these obscure songs and they do it so incredibly well. Of course I am.
Jamie Combs is a great example. You go to his solo show, he's everywhere. I mean, he's playing everything. Yeah.
But does it sell? Does it make me money? No.
Yeah. And that can be a problem. It can. And side piece. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not a great idea. You're right, Dave. It's not a great idea when it comes to business. It's just not. There's reasons why certain things work. There's reasons why business plans, business models work, and you stick to them. You can branch off and do little things every once in a while, but fact remains, the only way these music venues survive are by the people that are coming in and paying. And if you're going to drive them out because you care more about what you personally want to sing than what the masses want to hear, then not only are you not a team player, but you just cost me some money.
Thank you, Eric. That's a good statement.
You left a weird taste in my mouth.
That he's talking about.
Yeah. Oh no, I wasn't saying Eric left a weird taste in my mouth. I was saying what was doing. Yeah.
I got it. And Dave, thank you for that, clarifying that. I appreciate your honesty on that one. And and Seven's talking about adding different players. It adds a different flair. Like I said, I saw Sweet Sister over the weekend. They had a keyboard player with them. That's a change for me, seeing that. And it's interesting to see how that changes the dynamic of the band sometimes and what songs you can do throw Jim Questa in the mix on any band, and I guarantee you'll widen your songbook by 100. You know, because that man could play anything. And Greg says too many cookie cutter type bands. But why are there cookie cutter bands? Is my question to the musicians.
Like that's what I'm talking about. I know you want to be original and you want to be different. But do you want to be booked at multiple where's the line here?
Hi, Marcy.
Are you playing for you? When you play if you play in a cover band and you're expecting to get booked by bars and you choose to play a certain type of set list, you know, that nobody's heard of, well, you're not going to sell me drinks, which means I can't book you because I can't afford to pay you. So unless you want to do it for free, okay.
Thank you, Kevin. I agree. Route 88 does do that. And there are a lot of bands out there who I've seen, and I've never seen the same set list twice. And I appreciate that more than you know, because I think that means you're putting the effort into it. It's not, as Greg said, and that's what I would classify as cookie cutter. If you go and see the same show every night and they open with the same song and close with the same song, and every break, before the break's the same song and you know them all, then you either been seeing that band way too much or they're not changing it up and they're being lazy. And that's just Scott's opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion. Remember that. They're like, you know what?
Can you put up, Dave? There we go. If I'm selling t-shirts, I want to sell where I'm at. I may personally prefer a t-shirt that doesn't sell, but I'm not going to stock my shelves with product. Right. Correct.
Good analogy.
Dave, you smart, beautiful man. Correct. Correct.
How come you never call me that? Thanks.
You're a smart, beautiful man, too.
Thank you. I love you. I'll send money. All right. Let's see. Such a diverse and under the sun. I got to see those guys. I want to go see them. I've heard so much about them. I do.
So good.
And I've missed. And there's another one by Bob. Bob's like swinging for the fences today. He's hitting the home runs with all his comments. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you being here. You always have great insight. And I do agree. I mean, you know, there can be the most fantastic player in the world on the stage, and if they're not relating to your songs, they're not going to stay. They want to party, you know, and I love good music. I love great musicianship, believe me. And I identify good musicianship, but there are times where, and I'll use the rock and roll guy, Yngwie Malmsteen, Yngwie as he's known, can play Beethoven and Bach on a guitar like no one else. He's a virtuoso, but his personality on stage and his stage show is flat for me. It just is not. If you're a guitarist, maybe you like him, you know, I mean, it's just one of those things. And I didn't really see. What did Toy say? Oh, he said, we're being hired to entertain the venues, patrons, not to feed our egos as musicians. Toy, rock on, my friend. That's a great comment.
And again, there's a time and a place. Nobody, and again, this is not our personal opinions. This is my business opinion. There's a time and a place. And when somebody is paying you to do a job, and that job is to help them keep people there and keep people drinking, then the least you can do is keep your ego at the door and work with and be a team player.
And Ditch says, kudos to you for booking Boogie G.
They were great. They were fantastic.
That's all. I'm glad to hear that.
They were really fantastic. And they played some different songs too. That was the thing. I'm always willing to take a chance. And they were a great risk because not only do they play different they're songs that everybody's heard, but they were different, but they're also from Lexington. And in August, which is like the worst month for me, not only were they great, but they had people come, like they brought a little crowd. I mean, it's hard to from Lexington, but we had people come in and they kept them there the entire night. Do you know how hard that is to do in August?
It's hugely hard.
It's huge. Nobody understands. So that was I had to work the food truck that night. Not had to, it was a pleasure, but so I didn't get a chance to see it all. But I mean, that's a big deal.
100%.
And that to me is like, that just shows you can play the songs that people don't usually play, but they've heard of them and they get excited.
I want to comment on Kareem's comment there above. Kareem, if you ever start a band, that is perfect. Call it the Not Predictables.
Yeah.
I mean, honest to God, because that's what I would go see. If somebody said they're not predictable, I want to go see them, because that means they're doing stuff on the fly. They're playing to the room. They're doing things that wow me, but yet I relate to them. And again, you can't pull song number 12 off an album that's never been heard by anybody and really expect engagement from your audience. I mean, even if you're a master at it, if you do one, that's okay. If you do 12 of them in a night, that's not going to work. It's not working for me. I know it's not working for venue owners. I've had this talk with more than just you, Ceris, and they'll tell you that's why they book cover bands.
That's why we book cover bands. My gosh, personally, I wish there was a big enough market. Since I bought this bar, I have been trying to rack my brain on how I can incorporate original music into what I do, because I love music. I love original music. I love listening to but I love cover bands too. So like it's both ways, but there's a reason why there aren't that many. And it's because it's so hard to have a steady business on it.
And the other side of the fence is every hit was once just an original.
That's another thing. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. Like, your favorite songs that you love to listen to were originals that you love, that you play. I mean, it's what a compliment. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird to me.
And Brandon, it works because people used to dance to those songs and they identify with what you guys play. And that's one thing about Party Punch. It is a party from start to finish, and people are dancing the entire time. You don't slow it down. You don't crash the crowd. You guys keep them fever pitch the whole time. So I think that's part of your success as a band is that's what goes on. Let me see what Marcy had to say here.
Marcy, I have about a handful of bands that play originals mixed with covers, and people love it. They love it. They absolutely love. CFG is one of them. They have something very special. Brent James and the Vintage Youth is another one. There's a bunch. I have a handful that do that. And I keep booking them because they're really good and the crowd really reacts to them really, really well. But I think we can all agree, for the most part, it doesn't work all the time, you know?
Yeah, and Kareem just talked about your Sunday Strum Day. There's a difference between Sunday Strum Day and Sunday Fun Day. Sunday Fun Day means come on in and have a party for 3 hours with the music that you all identify with. Sunday Strum Day to me sounds like it's going to be a musician's showcase, and they're going to play some of their stuff, maybe their originals, give a chance to meet them. You know, that to me is a little different world. It's like the Jam. The Jam isn't going to do original songs of people that walk up there and say, "Oh, I've got this original." Not going to happen.
You know, and
it'll kill the vibe.
And I wish I could have continued those Strum Days, but it was costing me a fortune.
Nobody coming to see him. That's the hard part.
Problem.
Yes. Now, Marcy's got Sunday Fun Day at her place, and there's a developed crowd for that every Sunday there. I mean, the people that play there, it's fun, it's relaxing, it's a little more interactive than you would with a full house and a band, and I think that's cool about it. And Dave Wade says music business is weird. It is. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever been a part of. Yes.
You're right. It's art as a business is a weird thing. So because art comes from within, and you never want to stomp on anybody's like artistic vision. But again, if you're trying to get paid for it, we're all going to have to suck it up.
And I will say what Roger's saying is very true. You go to Nashville, you go to some like the listening room, please. People are in there. You expect to go hear artists trying their original stuff. You do. And that's what you go there for. But if you go to a bar, to the Bell and the Bear, I want to be entertained and I want to hear songs I know and I want to be up and dancing and having fun and all that stuff.
There's
and
also
that's just opinion, but
there's also a big difference on the pay. I know a lot of the bars, especially on the Strip in Nashville, the band has to pay a percentage of their tips. Like they don't get paid.
Right. Pay to play.
Here, you're expecting to get paid, which I'm happy to pay because I love what the band, I love music, but there's a big difference. That's the difference. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And Kevin, you're right. Singer-songwriter nights, you know what you're getting. And unfortunately, there's not many of those because they don't draw, but a lot of the venues don't pay either on those. A lot of times it's like we pay somebody to bring their equipment in and set up, and you come in and play your original tunes, and we don't pay you for that. So it's basically an open mic night, but they call it songwriter night because you do your originals, which I'm all for it. I love to hear original songs and people's talent and their ability to write, because I don't have that ability. So I'm certainly into whatever anybody can do. And we've got a lot of comments rolling in here, guys, and we do have to wrap this up today. We're getting long. But, Ceris, you want to sum up from the venue owner's point of view what your feeling is on this topic? Because I know we're both on both sides of the fence with this a little bit. So can you sum it up?
I think because we're both on both sides of the fence, because our personal opinions are very different than our business opinions. And so as my business opinion as a music venue is, unfortunately, the obscure doesn't sell. If you want to give it a shot, every once in a while, give it a shot. But if you need to read your audience, you need to give a shit. You need to care that bar is, if they're making money or if they're not. And to be safe, I always suggest, if you want to be rebooked and if you want to be a team player and if you do care about being rebooked, maybe just stick to what works for right now. And the later in the evening, try your obscure. There's a time and a place, and just be careful. And,
Javon, that's a whole nother show, but I will tell you, tribute bands are on fire right now out there in the world. They are everywhere. They are making money. They're touring. They're doing all kinds of stuff. But that's a whole nother show. I mean, we really should get into that.
Tribute bands, but I think there's a time and a place for them too. I wouldn't book a tribute band on a Friday or a Saturday.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
I have nothing wrong against tribute bands by any means, but
thank you for that, Marcy, on the Rusted Reserve. I'm going to have to check them out for sure. So, Ceris, I got something to finish up with here, unless you have anything else any points you want to get in before we head out of here today. First of all, let's thank everybody for their interaction, because this was a good show from that aspect.
This was a great show.
Yes, we appreciate it when you guys talk, and we've tried getting you to call in many times, but most of you don't want to do that, but you do comment a lot, and we appreciate it. And Shane says obscure works better when people are good and drunk. All right, well, maybe. Yes, thank you, Ray Renee. And Roger, thank you.
See, couldn't get booked after one shot. And it's a business. I know it's your art, but it's your business too. If you're trying to get booked, just remember, and if you're not going to be a team player, then don't expect me to be on your team.
All right, are you ready?
I'm fucking ready. Let's fucking do this.
How many F-bombs are you going to throw at me today?
Those were the only two.
I don't even have the censor beep, but yeah, I do. There it is. All right. Fuck. Let's do it.
Okay.
Peter Gabriel or Genesis? Solo or band? I'm doing solos or bands here.
Oh, both. Band.
Phil Collins or Genesis?
Phil Collins.
Ozzy or Black Sabbath?
Oh, Black Sabbath.
John Lennon or the Beatles?
The Beatles.
Paul McCartney or the Beatles?
The Beatles.
Sebastian Bach or Skid Row? These are hard.
These are really hard.
Yeah, that's why I'm throwing them at you today. Look at the numbers on the show today. Thank you guys so much for watching, by the way.
What is it?
Oh, we're about 60 right now live, so that's fantabulous. Fantabulous. Bonnie says my hair looks pretty. Thank you, Bonnie, for noticing I have no hair. All right, there we go.
Skid it is.
Skid Row. All right, we're getting answers from the audience too. I'm going to keep going here. Did I go Stevie Nicks or Fleetwood Mac?
Interesting. They're both really good.
Lindsey Buckingham or Fleetwood Mac?
Fleetwood.
Let's go back to the Beatles or George Harrison.
I don't like any of them. Beatles.
Robert Plant or Led Zeppelin?
Led Zeppelin.
Joe Walsh or the Eagles?
The Eagles.
Don Henley or the Eagles?
Oh. Don Eagle.
Glenn Fry or the Eagles?
The Eagles.
Paul Simon or Simon and Garfunkel?
Fuck. You're awful today.
I know. I put the D in you know what today.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson or the Jackson 5?
Yeah.
David Lee Roth or Van Halen?
Yeah.
Sammy Hagar or Van Halen?
Yeah.
Lou Reed or the Velvet Underground?
I'm not answering these anymore.
You're
Lou
being
Reed.
a...
Huh?
Nothing.
Lou Reed.
Nothing. Bruce Dickinson or Iron Maiden?
Iron Maiden.
Pete Townsend or the Who?
The Who.
Sting or the Police?
Oh. Wow.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Belinda Carlisle or the Go-Go's?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
You got nothing?
No.
Mick Jagger or the Rolling Stones?
Oh, the Rolling Stones.
Okay. Fair enough. Kenny Rogers or the New Edition?
I don't know.
Bobby Brown or New Edition?
Bobby Brown.
That one was right off the top of the head, by the way.
Yeah.
That's it today. That's it. And Dave Wade says they were all better as part of the band. I tend to agree.
I agree, Dave. I agree.
And I think they're bitches for leaving. A little bit.
Bitches.
I mean, you know, a little bit. And yes, I had that one on the list, Jim McCarthy. Thank you for going.
That was a tough
Speaking
one.
of obscure, it was. But there it is. So thanks for participating today. And Karis, thanks for being a great co-host as always. It's wonderful to talk to you from your beautiful log cabin porch.
It's lovely to talk to you from your studio.
It is. What's shaking at the bell this week, real quick?
Oh, tonight is Single and the food truck's there. Tomorrow is the last Wednesday of the month, which means it's karaoke with Ray Renee. Thursday is our epic jam session. Friday, we have Linus Tate. Saturday, we have In Real Life. And then on Sunday, we have Kara Granger with special guest Voodoo Child for the holiday weekend. And then we move into September, and the lineup for September is to die for.
Is it now?
I'm so excited.
Well, that's great. And you know where I'll be tonight? Mr. Burroughs Tavern. Marcy was on here. I'll be there tonight with quiz-tastic trivia. And then on Wednesday night at Heather's on the patio with Name That Tune. We got some more weeks of that left to mid-November. So looking forward to that one.
After November, you come to the Bell and the Bear.
I will. As long as I don't conflict with your Singo people. I don't want to offend anyone.
No. You're number one.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you.
Thanks for watching. We're out of here. We're leaving. Johnny Fink's taking us out. Johnny Fink. Speaking of originals.
Fink is also co-hosting for the Jam this week. And he has some great originals.
And this is one of them. It's called New Girl. Now, Johnny Fink. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
See, I got me a little problem.
I got a big problem.
When you come home at night, I got another woman.
Uh-oh.
Who wants to treat this daddy right. Go ahead on.
That's us on Insta right there.
Hey, there's
Go on, do what you got to do. Cause I got me a sweet young thing.
Extreme close-up. We never did that.
I got the new girl blues.
And how about this, too? We didn't do this.
the views and opinions opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of our sponsors or any entities they represent.
Thank you, Ceris. See you next time.